So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Good evening from Greece, from Athens right now. On behalf of the Hellenic Mediterranean University, its International Relations Offices, and the Athena European University, welcome to one of these Athena talks. This is, I think, that the 111th Athena talk that we have organized, and we are very happy to have with us someone that we would like to invite him, many years, or like many years. We are running these 3 years now, but a long time ago, our colleague, Professor Evangelos Markakis, one of the most active researchers that we have, and we are very proud that Evangelos started his studies and he has developed through the university. Of course, through his hard work as well and his curiosity and creative thinking. So Evangelos, I will provide some introduction to Evangelos. I will say that Evangelos born in Heraklion, Crete in 1980s. He holds a PhD from the Department of Information and Communication Systems Engineering from the University of Aegean. He has actively participated at least in 15 research projects. He's very active, I will say, on this, and he's considered one of the most active researchers in his topic within our university. So we are very happy to have him with us. Currently, he's working as a senior research fellow at Pacify Laboratory at the Technological Education Institute of Crete for the projects Horizon 2020, Eminos, and he's the technical coordinator project. Additionally, he is the dissemination manager for AIDS 2020 project for TICA and technical lead for Pacify Lab for AIDS 2020 project named SMILE. His research activities include emergency communications, interactive digital television, distributed systems, and person-to-person applications, designs of large-scale heterogeneous networks, fog computing, and networking and network management and virtualization techniques, including SDN, NFV concept. He's a member of IEEE and other prestigious editors, and also editor of the IET book on cloud and vFog computing in 5G mobile networks, emerging advantages and applications. So I would like to thank again all of you for the participation, and especially Evangelos Markakis, that despite the technical issues regarding communication that we face in our institute right now because of the maintenance, he's with us in order to share his vast experience and give us an introduction to the cybersecurity. The floor is yours, Evangelos, and we're looking forward. Thank you very much again.
Okay, thank you very much, Kostas. My CV needs
to mute your microphone. Sorry, Evangelos.
My CV needs an update because this is 3-4 years ago, but we will go as we go. Hello, everybody. I'm Evangelos Markakis. I'm assistant professor of the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Hellenic Mediterranean University, and I now am the principal investigator of the Pacify Lab. Today, we will talk about critical infrastructure and the cyber threat landscape of them, along with some case studies, the regulatory framework, some risk management strategies that we need to consider, the role of AI and machine learning, which is playing an important role currently in cybersecurity, the part of incident response and the recovery plans, what is the supply chain security and why it is, I would say, glued with the critical infrastructures, what are the security and situational awareness and training programs that needs to be considered in these domains. And following, we will go with what we are doing here in our lab with solutions stemming from Horizon 2020 project, but goes now to the latest project that we have in Horizon, which is the trusty Pemea Cobalt PQReal. We'll follow with some emerging concepts, what is currently being done in Europe with the ECC. We will say what is this in a while. Some legal and ethical consideration, the future trends and predictions on the area. Now, the Pacify Lab that I lead, in the last 5 years, it has gathered 3.3 million euros And in the last 1.5 that I lead, it has gathered 1.5 million. So it's about 50% in the last 1.5 years. We currently have 16 employees, 3 MSc students. We have produced 37 journal, conference, book chapters, and books in the field of wireless. And we are very proud that we are contributing in main areas in Europe in the part of the standardization effort happening in European Telecommunication Standards Institute, in ENISA, and in IEEE. The expertise of our lab is in the part of Digital Europe. I've been evaluating from the beginning of Digital Europe in the field of cybersecurity and communication. We are working in the Horizon Cluster 4, which is the digital industrial technologies, the Cluster 3, which is the civil security for society, and the Cluster 4, which is the climate, energy, and mobility of the Horizon Europe framework. The core lab team is presented here. And following, we have the ongoing project that we had, which is we have 6 Horizon projects, 1 Digital Europe, and 2 H20 projects that they are finalizing. And in this also 5 DRSA that we finalized on November, so it is in the completed. And the majority of them, they were initiated by our lab, and we are proud on the concept and the production of this project. Now, what is a critical infrastructure? Critical infrastructure are essential systems and assets vital for the function of society's economics and national security. What does it mean? It means that it does not consist of one system. It consists of multiple systems like the energy grid, the transportation network, telecommunication, the healthcare facilities, and the others. And all of them, as a whole, they provide the backbone of modern societies, ensuring essential services, societal function. Most of the time, these systems are there in order to support the quality of life from the average user, like me and everybody that is here. But at the same time, they are providing all the gluing items that we have in order to support the way that we have learned to work and live in the modern societies. And why we talk about that? Because eventually the digitization of all of them and the much utilization of connectivity to the internet has created these infrastructures to be susceptible to cyber threats. And we have a lot of modern paradigms on that. Now, what are these critical infrastructure? As you will see, most of what we have around us is there. It's the technical plants, communications, emergency service, government facilities, defense, food and agriculture. So every part of it is modernized. It has a lot of systems that they can be breached. And at the same time, we have already examples of how they interfere on these systems. I will start with some of them in order to go as fast as possible of main problems. Let's say in the transportation system, we have roadway and highways monitoring that is being done with at this stage of operation with AI, cameras, and all of this. We have railway networks that they are automatically been working, most probably not in Greece, but in other parts of Europe. And we have the systems in this transportation chain, like the airports and maritime, that they are fully triggered and powered by ICT infrastructure. We have then water and wastewater systems, the water treatment plants, the wastewater treatments. They are already being exploited, and we'll have in a while a use case on this. We have then nuclear reactors, materials and waste. The nuclear power plants are one of the main use cases that we do in our universities with examples stemming from Iran, where malwares have created problems in the nuclear production. And these malware products, they were even powered in an offline system, meaning that it was provided to this system through even USBs. So this shows the importance of how many years now we have the part of the critical infrastructure systems per sector. Then we have information technology. We cannot live eventually without information technology. So this part of being in the core of the critical infrastructure, we have multiple issues in network infrastructure, in data centers, in cybersecurity system. We have the government facilities, which is we have examples of attacks in administrative systems, in the critical data centers, that they are hosting the user's credentials and authentication through the government facilities application. We have then the part of the healthcare and public health. The public health is a very a common critical infrastructure that is around Europe. And unfortunately, we will see in a while that this specific area is where the majority of the attacks are happening as we speak. We have then the food and agriculture. The food and agriculture, where while in some places of the world the agriculture is being done with not automated way, we are progressing in a fast pace with systems that they can help in the production of the agriculture, but at the same time creating the necessary area for attacks to happen. Financial services and emergency communication systems in the part of the first network and the disaster recovery centers, that we have examples in the part of attacks on these specific areas. Defense industrial base. These are modern facilities that they are there in every big country that he wants to have the production of their own military equipment, and they are susceptible to specific attacks. Dams and examples of showing trying to free or put out of order dams. The part of critical manufacturing with manufacturing plants, but in this specific area, we have the supply chain management, which is the ability of minimizing the production. And this happens in a way with the COVID-19 era, that they start stopping parts of the supply chain. We will explain later what happened. And in this way, we minimize the way of critical manufacturing system. And we have the communications, which is the communication networks and the satellite systems, and some commercial facilities like retail infrastructure, corporate office, and last but not least, the part of chemical plants and the chemical processing has main materials management. Now, what type of attacks? Most of the time, it's malware attacks with ransomware. Why would we need, most probably, as Nikos was saying in the previous week, the attackers need a fast way of getting money. So a ransomware attack is where you lock the critical infrastructure and you request a specific amount in order to provide a decryption tool. And in this way, you have a fast pace on economically benefiting the attack. We have then distributed denial of service. It's a common thing that it's very hard, or not very hard, it cannot be stopped, because in this specific attack, we have a small packet in the part of bytes. This is something common in communication network, that they are sent by multiple hosts, and this creates a denial of service, so the end user cannot react in this type of distributed denial of service attack. even that nowadays, sometimes they cut regions, meaning that they stop, let's say, China, and in this way, they try to minimize the denial of service attacks. We have then insider threats and social engineering. And the last years, we have a big race in the nation state-sponsored cyber attacks with the leading being from China, India, etc. And the potential impacts is the disruption of service, compromised data and credit confidentiality, public safety risks, and societal unrest, while the complexity and frequency of cyber attacks are continuously increasing as we have a number of paradigms that they even raise the fluctuation of oil price. So in this way, we create the part of the societal unrest to be large. Now, why we work on critical infrastructure, except of the part that European Union at this stage is understanding that we need to guarantee the way of working the critical infrastructure. The last years, we have an advance that we show here, 140% decrease in yes critical infrastructure. The FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center's annual report shows that 1/3 of ransomware attacks are reported in the last year. The health and care and public health sector was affected most with a total of 210 attacks. This is US-based info that it's much more simple to see. And an analysis showed that in the top 11 cyber attacks on critical infrastructure, we have 56% to be in energy for facilities. And we have, again, breach of governmental clients with a cost of over 100 billion euros. And the record of cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure in UK was reported in 2023, showing that we are not done with this area, but these things improves. We see here that what we don't expect is that healthcare and public health is the first of the part of the ransomware attacks, and this is a bit overwhelming, the part that they are targeting healthcare and public health, but we must understand that most of the time the privacy and the data of the healthcare facility are the one that is an easy victim. If you have the healthcare data, they are confidential data, they are private data. So this raises the importance of them, creating the figures that we should see here. So what happens? Most of the time, we have three main use cases here that we will see. In order to understand how they work most of the time, we have the first one to be a colonial pipeline ransomware attack. It's very famous. It happened in May 2021 in the United States. It caused a temporary shutdown. And temporary, we will see that it was not that temporary. It has been working for 6 days. We have then the Ukrainian power grid cyber attack that it was before the war in Ukraine that shows the competitors and state-sponsored attacks. And then, last but not least, we have an attack that is a bit, I would say, aggressive in a way that they are targeting the general public. So in 2021, there is the monitoring of a cyber attack in a water treatment facility that shows that the attackers try to raise the level of sodium hydroxide, creating potential in Florida. Attackers gained access to the line compromised password of a VPN account. So this is common. We have multiple users in our facilities that they are not updated in a way. So the credentials were clicked in the dark web. They even in this way they created a VPN connection to the specific facility, set a ransomware program inside the internal network, and they request a 4.4 million Bitcoin payment for providing the decryption key for the specific facility. And what they have in their hands, 100 gigabytes of data from their server. What was the situation? Closing the entire pipeline system, 5,500 miles of pipelines. And what they did, they paid. They paid the attackers the 4.4 millions, but eventually the decryption tool that was provided was slow and ineffective. And this raised the part of restoring the whole system from backups that created a 6-day widespread of fuel shortage, price spikes, and panic buying across several countries. So we see that a simple attack, it was just a VPN in a way that it was forgotten, resulted in a fuel shortage in a whole country. We have then another well-known example in the Ukrainian power grid. This was before the war, that created and remotely switched off the circuit breakers of 30 substations, resulting 300,000 customers without power for several hours. And the funny thing on this is that they were trying to disable the ability to repower on these substations. Another example that we have here is the part of the water treatment. And it is important to show that this example is showing a product that is being used in multiple tasks. It's the part of the team viewer. So in this specific example, we have 11 point. They raised the sodium hydroxide content from 100 parts to 11 million in the water. So this will cause severe health problems if consumed. And in this situation, we were happy that the system operator noticed the intrusion and immediately reduced the level back to normal. But this showed that the Florida, which is above 10 million, will have a problem in their water treatment, creating a huge problem in the whole area. Now, what can be the problem? The critical infrastructures are not isolated. What does it mean? It means that we have a supply chain in that most of the time is automated. So a facility will request from a third party most of the time the supplies for running, creating a chain inside the part of the critical infrastructure that is very important to be considered. So we have an interconnected network of entities, but this interconnected network of entities are providing resources and technologies expertise in creating the good or service. So we have the raw materials, they are processed, and they are provided in the retail service, creating a chain that when one part of the chain is hit, then you have a problem in the whole chain of command. The part of sourcing, procurement, and distribution, as we spoke now. And this is not linear. It's a web of interconnected operation, meaning that we have APIs, and this is an API is, in order to make it as simple as possible, it's like a web page that you can request services. And this is done automatically without involving sometimes a human in the loop. And if it is important to have efficiency, reliability, but at the same time ensure the security of the operation of this specific field. And what we do in the supply chain critical infrastructure, we have risk mitigation strategies. So this means that in order to build and be part of a supply chain, you need to follow specific guidelines, stemming from where? From regulatory compliance. The regulatory compliance can be mandated practice, like the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, or it can be, let's say, like ISO 20000, with the main the main target to be the certification and auditing of who? The supplier evaluation, the diversification, the redundancy, in the case that we have a problem in this chain in the cybersecurity, but on the same time to secure development practice that they are following known areas in the part of cybersecurity, like security by design, etc. What are the known regulatory framework compliance standards? The most known in Europe is the EU Agency for Cybersecurity. And 2 years ago, we created, and Europe created in Bucharest, the European Cybersecurity Competence Center and Network, which is there in order to fund through initially Digital Europe, but also other funding opportunities to fund projects that they are targeting the part of cybersecurity, not only in critical infrastructure, but critical infrastructure to be part of them. Then we have other institutes like the NIST, very well known, that produce multiple standards that they have translated quite a lot of times in Europe. We have the ISO, International Organization for Standardization, with ISO 27000 to be series, to be one of the most famous. And in NIST, it's NIST 800, which is one of the most famous, the part of cybersecurity. The UK National Cybersecurity Center. I need to say on this specific field that ENISA and the ECC the European Cybersecurity Competence Center, are not standard organizations. They are not producing standards. They are producing guidelines in order to make it clear. And what are these regulatory framework for compliance standard? It's very simple. They have key elements that they are identifying where we need to have a risk assessment. Risk assessment is a procedure that is important in the part of designing the whole process. We have security controls. Security controls can be cybersecurity related, meaning ICT related, but can be also physical security controls. We have then, when it happens something, you need also to be able to report it in order to identify where the problem is. We have the incident response part, which is being triggered by CIRT, Cybersecurity Incident Response Teams. And we have also continuous monitoring of the whole process. And what we want is the compliance challenges. We have multiple compliance challenges. Why? Because most probably, as Nikos was saying the previous week, most of the times the attackers are one step ahead of us. In the risk management strategies for critical infrastructure, we have two main risk assessment methodologies with OCTAV, Operationally Critical Threat Asset and Vulnerability Evaluation, OCTAV, approach to define a risk-based strategic assessment and planning technique for security. So OCTAV is a self-directed approach, meaning that people from an organization assume responsibility for setting organization security strategy. It means that we run the specific framework and we create a tailored risk assessment methodology for the organization we have. And then we have the fair risk model that's not, it is not has to do with the fair principles, but with the fair risk model coming from factor analysis of information risk, which is a quantitative risk analysis model that had organization as a cyber risk specified to their environment. And what they do, it's the part of security control implementation. So we have the access control, the encryption, how we create the network segmentation of a specific field, and the anomaly detection system, resulting in most of the time to a comprehensive plan. And this comprehensive plan has to do with the testing and updating of the incident response plan. And how we monitor this? Again, we need the necessary tools for continuous monitoring and adaptation. Real-time monitoring of the status of the network, adaptive strategies, and real-time response, having a majority of tools that they are known, and we will show also a bit in a while, like vulnerability assessment, like CM, etc. Then we have another important issue, which is the security situation awareness and training. Being humans and humans making errors, sometimes they are on purpose, sometimes are not on purpose. So the human factor is a wishing list for malicious act. And what we need, we have multiple examples of employing education with gamification, with a number of tools, but they are there in order to help reducing the knowledge, reducing the knowledge gap of the various employees, and also showing what is phishing and what is social engineering situational awareness. And on the same area, we need role-based training. What does it mean? It means that if we have a company or even a university, we have a level of education that is not equal to everybody. So we need customized education for specific fields in order to be able to create a better security situational awareness of the various employees. How we achieve that? We can have simulations, but on the same time, we can have tabletop exercises through specific cyber attack scenarios, with the most famous to be the red teaming or blue teaming or cyber raids, which is the ability to use platforms for emulating attacks and showing and understanding the response of the various teams that they use the specific fields. Following, we must have continuous education programs. The document that we create as also academic talks here needs to be updated every time. The cybersecurity field is also something that it does not make sense to have a series of talk, and then in most probably next year we'll have a new type of worm or a new type of vulnerability. So we need to regularly update and keep up with the ever-evolving threat landscape. Even nowadays, where the most of the talk is being moved to in the parts of large language model, etc. But also, we need to have a rise on internal reporting system, meaning that If something is breached, it needs to be reported. And if something we think that is not working as it's supposed to be working, it needs to be able to be monitored in order to see this suspected security situation. Now, how we can prevent the whole system? We have in cybersecurity specific areas that they are talking a lot of research projects, but nowadays are also going to industry. We must be natively supporting cybersecurity. What is natively? It means that a system by design needs to be supporting and have in mind the cybersecurity. And then we have other systems that they are gaining weight, which is the zero trust, trust nobody. It means that even the small part of the chain can create a large build. In this example, we have the VPN credential that they were not changed before. In case like zero trust, this is something that most probably it will be able to handle it. Then we have also another known study, which is the zero knowledge, means that we don't know anything about the system, and the system does not know anything. Good examples of this is the self-sovereign identity, meaning that we don't store information of who is accessing and what is the level of access of this specific end users. Then we have cyber hygiene. What is cyber hygiene? It means that we have anti-malware software in order to be able to scan the devices, detect threats, and remove malicious software. To have in place security information and event management systems in order to be able there and support and protect against malicious software, and also monitor activity and access across our network. We have then the part of firewall. Firewall is it's a bridge, it's an umbrella term, but the main idea is to create digital barriers between internal and external systems, and at the same time to be able to scan, evaluate, and filter incoming traffic. So it is an umbrella device that can support multiple things. And then we have trust zone. What is trust zone? Trust zone is the ability to be able to create specific islands of devices or specific internal networks that they are isolated and they are not providing the ability to use them in the part of our system. And encryption, and it can go as we speak. What it means? It means that we need encryption in multiple states: encryption in the communication, encryption in the data handling, encryption in the data provided across platforms. And in this way, we are also be able to handle not only the part of the communication, but the data itself. And security does not stop in cybersecurity. One of the main elements that is not being triggered in multiple areas in the critical infrastructure is the physical security. If somebody has access in a PC that is not locked, then it has access to the network. If somebody has access with a hammer that can go inside a data center of a critical infrastructure, break it and goes inside, then he has a physical presence in the area of the critical infrastructure. So this is the part of the physical security and the part of the human assessment. Human assessment being the weakest link. This means that we need to consider it most of the time. And then we have the silos. Silos is the ability to have intercommunication of the specific field, but also to create a centralization and a policy enforcement inside of the cybersecurity area. Following, audit. Audit everything. Audit device, audit users, audit networks, creating a system that cannot be breached in any part of the network. Now, let's see what is happening currently in our life, and we have the introduction of AI and machine learning. AI is an umbrella again term that creates and encompasses a number of technologies that enable systems to simulate human-like intelligence and perform tasks. And we have a machine learning, which is a subset of AI that focus on algorithms to learn from data and detect patterns, make prediction without explicitly programming. What does it mean? It means that we can learn from the dataset and use it in our benefit. But as the attackers most of the time use AI for attacking something, at the same time, we can use in create threat detection analysis. We can create a dataset, learn from the monitoring of our system, and in this way, we can achieve a behavioral analysis inside the critical infrastructure networks, but also at the same time to have an anomaly detection identified even before happening by monitoring in a way that largest in the network traffic, helping in detecting also a known threat, which is something of importance in the specific area. And two main parts of the part of predictive analysis and risk assessment and automation and response assessment. The predictive analysis can be in the part of the predictive modeling of a specific cyber threat by analyzing the historical data of the specific attack, but also to create the threat intelligence and enhance machine learning algorithms for predictive capabilities as we speak before, and also support in the automation of response and mitigation actions, but at the same time to improve the part of decision making. Now, what we are doing in the area, and this is the most important part, of course, we are doing most of the part that already discussed, but our work is related to the part of creating concept in the proposal formulation and writing with successful examples on projects in the area. We are working the part of the standardization in the field. We have a very good expertise that has been multiple cited by a lot of people, the part of human vulnerability assessment and the part of network vulnerability assessment. We have also wrote in the last, in 2023, the main example of NISA in fog and edge computing in 5G with the area of cybersecurity, creating a thorough survey on fog and edge computing in the area. We are working the part of emergency communication with being the chair of the Pan-European Mobile Emergency Applications and having the first NGO on 2 chain, resulting in a secure end-to-end communication system. But also we are working nowadays in a new way of intrusion detection and prevention, with the results being under evaluation in specific field. Now, let me show, I don't know if we have time, Kostas?
You have 5 more minutes, Evangelos.
5 more minutes, oh, it's not a lot. So the fixed solution, which was a project that Wiki wrote, it is the ability to have a multiple cybersecurity tools in the part of healthcare IT ecosystem. It stems from my work as an IT guy in the healthcare facility here in Greece, where we created and provided a number of tool sets that they are there in order to proactively assess and mitigate cybersecurity threats. Our work was a vulnerability assessment as a service framework that was able to work with the common vulnerability scoring system and create the necessary devices or the necessary, I would say, a prioritization of what to do inside the network. And in this way, it was a useful tool for the administrators to see where to start creating and mitigating non-vulnerabilities in order to create a much more reliable network. Following, we have the SAFEs. The SAFE project develop an open ecosystem that enables a large-scale deployment of digital for solutions for healthy independent living. And this was a very challenging project, as we were the main authentication system and security and privacy assurance that we created a centralized public infrastructure, a single sign-on component, and also the ability to have IoT device authenticated inside this system. We have also worked in Fortica. Fortica was a project that has to do with creating a necessary framework for creating a tailor-made solution for enterprises, meaning that you were able to create small holistic solutions for the part of cybersecurity in small medium enterprise. And also we were able to have an edge cloud communication, the visualization of risk, etc. Then we have Trusty. A trustee is a person who takes responsibility for managing money or assets that have been set aside in trust for the benefit of someone else. We are very proud of this, as we were the main developers of this project that is currently running. My team and I am the technical manager of this project, is using a homomorphism solution to create an encryption solution that enables researchers to search and utilize encrypted data. That means that we are benefiting from homomorphism, which is technology that you have the ability to search inside the encrypted domain, and at the same time, in this way, we are providing a sneak peek, we can say, on the data that the specific data sets or data spaces, as they are called in Europe, they are using. Classified lab was the concept study proposal writing, the technical management, interaction with all. Then we have our latest part, Cobalt, multidisciplinary ICT certification frameworks, where we utilize quantum security, cybersecurity certification. And we also have the PQ React that started this November, if I remember right, but it's also using post-quantum cryptography techniques in order to create cryptographic agility methods.
Am I here?
Yes. All right. Then, in the part of vulnerability, I want to show a bit, but I will go direct to the framework. Here we show what we were able to see, that we have how many assets were able to be identified, what was the assessment of them, what is the report, and also the various vulnerabilities. You were able to click on the specific device and also show the number of alerts and the number of problems that existed in the specific area. We have then the part of emergency communication. We are members of the Pan-European Emergency Application Consortium. I am the chair of the Pan-European Emergency Application, which is an NGO established in Spain. And we have the ability to utilize emergency applications across Europe, and this is one of the part of the emergency communication field that we are doing. Then we have the NG112, which is the next generation emergency communication system. And I was the technical manager of the first ever EU-based end-to-end NG112 solution that was also certified in the way it works with from ETSI. And nowadays, we are also working in the part of eBPF. eBPF is a new framework that was developed by Berkeley, and it's a kernel-level packet examination and manipulation, and we try to create an intrusion detection and prevention system that we have a very good results in the part of latency and overhead reduction. I will try also to go as fast as possible in this. Now, in the part of threat intelligence exchange, currently NISA has created the first ever 5G threat intelligence landscape, which is a live Excel that can also show the part of threats in the specific area. There is also multiple events in the digital Europe that they are funding SOC, Cybersecurity Operations Centers for EU. And there are a lot of collaborative efforts on specific areas of interest by Interpol, Europol, EU LISA, and other public organizations. But we have also the part of public-private partnership, which is part of what is done currently in Europe. And of course, there is always barriers like the privacy concern of reporting cybersecurity. This is something very important in the way that sometimes this can damage the picture or the logo of a specific company. And also we have the benefit for the international collaboration that is being done at the moment, that we have better increased threat awareness, etc. Following, we have the part of legal and ethical considerations, the part of privacy laws, ethical dilemmas. I will share the slides for everybody to, they can post me later on this. And also we have some future trend automation that we are currently working. Resilience and recovery strategies. I was also one of the main authors in ETSI on resilience and the recovery of emergency communications. And there are also some very interesting part on emerging concept like the black sky catastrophe, which is the ability to use small nukes in order to take off specific parts of infrastructure. It is being used a lot in the part of models in the critical infrastructure. This is small nukes, not creating creating radiation, but not targeting on the radiation itself, more on the part of electromagnetic force, EMF. Then we have quantum resistant cryptography, generative AI in cyber attacks, and the intrusion detection system. And we are currently also working the part of quantum computing and security, being part of 2 projects in the area. And now we are also seeing some problems that they are very well known in the part of generative AI and the large language models. And this high adoption rate that we had in this large model, that's ChatGPT in a way, it's also creating space for security-related attacks in order to expose data that has to do with the part of privacy. That's all from me at this stage. I'm open, let's say, to questions. Sorry for taking a bit more, Kostas.
Oh, no worries. Thank you very much for this presentation. You can stop sharing the screen. In order, I have some questions, but I would like also to ask the other people if they have. I will start with a comment on your last remark, Evangelos, about ChatGPT. That ChatGPT, I agree with you, is like a source of cybersecurity attack, but not only, of privacy, but also how to manipulate the knowledge. Because if you attack the data of the ChatGPT, probably, wrong recommendations and wrong results, they are going to be appeared as a suggestion of the ChatGPT. I will say it's a privacy that is an open issue right now in any copyright answers that the ChatGPT provides. But I will say regarding the knowledge and how, this knowledge will be affected to all of us, since ChatGPT will be part of our life in the universities, to use it in a constructive way. So I have some questions to start if you don't have. So let me take it one by one. I would like to ask, I like it very much, Evangelos, the point that you mentioned about the public awareness of the importance to know of the impact of the cybersecurity in, I would say, okay, sensitive facilities, but a university is a sensitive facility right now. And a lot of universities, they have been attacked, in Greece and on abroad from cyber attack. And I would like to say to you, what kind of digital skills the public should be aware, or our undergraduate students, what are, the gaps that you have identified in the undergraduate, let's say, curriculum, in order to provide a short introduction to the undergraduate students about the impact? This is my first question. And regarding the extroversion of the university, what kind of activities we should develop in order to aware the public of the importance of the cyber attacks, in order to be more careful? For example, where do we provide our password, or what kind of URLs we are visiting for various purposes? These are my two questions. So what are the gaps right now, according to your experience in the undergraduate studies of respective or probably non-respective, departments, how we can fill these gaps, and what about the public awareness? Not, the employees, the public awareness.
The funny thing is that Kostas is that universities are not critical infrastructure. This is something that I disagree a lot, because eventually we provide knowledge to the community and to all part of the critical infrastructure. But for Europe, university is not a critical infrastructure. But going on the part of identifying what is missing, I think that what is missing is a part of understanding that the phishing or the social media, I would say, is a big risk in the part of privacy, with common public information to be widely provided. And at the same time, they don't understand that there are multiple events. Now with generative AI, we can just use your head and create the whole other part of the body as we want. So we need to understand that it is important to see that the way of attacking a person or a personality is also been altered as we move on. At the same time, the good news is that the people or the youth that they are coming are more relaxed on the part of using and utilizing cybersecurity applications. And also at the same time, we have the majority of systems currently using the list, which is the two-factor authentication. So I will say that the main problem on this is that the people at my age and more that need to be, they have a production of at least 30 years more in the area that needs to be trained and understand on the part of the social and also in the part of the various attack methods that currently exist, with examples like unification or phishing campaign identification or human vulnerability assessment framework.
Thank you, but let me disagree again with you. Whatever Europe is considering right now is not, the correct thing, because science diplomacy that the European universities they would like to do, not the European university alliances, European universities would like to do, is a target for cybersecurity. Nowadays that we are sharing everything on the drive and we communicate and we would like to be inclusive and the universities to operate as a companies, you need, to have a cybersecurity network, because if you shut down this, you create huge problems and, huge economic impact. So it's not only the energy, but also it's the knowledge and how do you affect the knowledge. And I will say that universities, are potential cybersecurity, targets for these purposes. But, let's, discuss it later on, with the coffee, but I disagree.
Yes, yes.
Especially the Israeli universities, right now they are, in a furious attack, not only because of the war, but because also in the past. I have a second question, and thank you very much for the answers. They were very clear for me. And I would like to, just, to reconfirm my second question. Blockchain technology is a kind of part of not cybersecurity attack, but, towards, more safety within the universities and the higher education. And what are, now I will continue our disagreement, but what is like the activities that the universities, they are taking over against cybersecurity attacks?
All right. For me, blockchain is technology that got a lot of lights, and it was something that a lot of people start working on. For me, the part of using distributed ledger has to do with the part of logging. And I see the only part that a blockchain or a distributed ledger technology can be used is a part of logging and creating in the part of the cyber incident response team a way of not be able to trick what is the results. And this part of the distributed ledger is something that I see that can be used in the area of cybersecurity. There are other multiple examples in the specific area that they use cybersecurity distributed ledgers for CM, for IDS. But for me, the only use case that makes sense is a part of creating a system that cannot be altered. And in this way, a distributed ledger is the right tool. Of course, there are problems in the part of distributed ledger in the specific field, which is the GDPR compliance of distributed ledgers is not that evident. So you don't have the right to be forgotten, which is one of the main parts of GDPR.
Thank you very much, Evangelos. Very clear. And my last one. So I like it very much, your session and the part of your presentation regarding the impact of artificial intelligence and how artificial intelligence and machine learning, or at least this is what I got, trains, our system in order to be more tolerant against cybersecurity attacks. This means that, all these systems are based on previous experiences, since they try to identify previous patterns. So I will say, can we split, our intrusion attacks measurements to active measurements, like, for example, artificial intelligence tools that they can learn very fast and they can predict, like prediction models, that this is a process of cybersecurity and stop, and to the passive one, systems that, it's the training, for example, of our employees. Can we say this?
The CM, the security incident and the event management system, they can also utilize specific tools for specific fields. Let's say the unknown threat. If you don't have an AI system that can understand the problem that exists in the network, it is not hard. It's not you cannot do anything on them. On the same time, we have a multi tools that one of them is also a part of an MSc that we have provided, which is human vulnerability assessment frameworks that have the ability to identify the weakness inside an organization on people that they click on a phishing, they go on a mail on a phishing campaign, and then try to inform that the specific department needs to create an education system for a specific area or a specific malware attack. So I agree with you. You need to have both goals in order to be okay.
Thank you very much, Evangelos. Do we have any other question? I think Stock Daniel would like to say something, or by accident he's unmuted himself during the lecture. So Daniel, if you have any question, this is the moment. Otherwise, if this is the case, I can say, like as a conclusion, like of the last two cybersecurity talks that we have, that we can see the impact. We can see, through Evangelos' talk, the importance of get aware and get trained also by ourselves, and also the existing technologies, how we can protect ourselves and the systems, whatever, if we work in sensitive or non-sensitive infrastructure, the phishing, at least the phishing is out there, so we should protect ourselves. And I think that the universities, they can do a lot of more things in order to train our students on this technology, that at least before 5 years, I read, an article in Economist that is the most well-paid profession right now, or it was in the state, in order to work for cybersecurity. And also we have, what Panagiotis Ignatiadis has mentioned to us about funding opportunities related to cybersecurity through Digital Europe. Panagiotis, do you want to make a comment for these opportunities for the last 2 seconds? Because I can see people, we have overtime our slot.
Okay, as Evangelos said, there is Horizon Europe Cluster 4, but I can also say that is also 3, which is about civil security. This is also a very important pillar. Next, the calls for proposal, I just checked it during the presentation, will be on the 27th of June, 2024. Of course, it's Digital Europe, which is not about research, but of course, results which are ready, let's say, to be implemented. And Vangelis, I think, mentioned that he already runs such also, I want to, it was actually a question to Vangelis. He mentioned one of the projects, I don't remember now the acronym, but from what I understood, this is a project that has already finished and is producing results in the terms of, let's say, that is ready to provide services. And I wanted to ask him if he has considered to upgrade that into, let's say, a spin-off company, pretty much like another institute in Crete, a similar, let's say, people, researchers, they created another cybersecurity company that it was sold now to an American company. Do you consider your case ready, let's say, to be upgraded into a commercial spin-off case?
To tell you the truth, I have not worked on spin-off companies, as I'm a bit overwhelmed in multiple parts. So at this stage, I need, let's say, to finalize some stuff, and we have some also. We have now 9 Horizon projects that they are running, so I don't have the time to go through it. But it's something that is always in the purpose of building and also disseminating the info. So yes and no, I would say, on the part of the company at this stage.
So,
please go ahead, Panagiotis.
So if we, because you mentioned that you do a lot of tests in your work about cybersecurity, if let's say somebody from Athena or from the technology transfer office comes and make this, let's say, self-testing to see whether your technology is ready to go to the market, providing, of course, that you want it, and will you be able to do that? I mean, let's make a check whether there is a business case, and this can be, let's say, upgraded to a commercial, let's say, activity.
The solution of Sphinx, while it is also very good in the part of performance, it is triggered by open source tools. So I'm not 100% sure that I can use them in a way of creating a spin-off company. Of course, this is something that we always have in mind. And we are also discussing on our latest project that is also very promising, the part of on the part of creating a company, in the part of homomorphic encryption. And of course, we are open on discussing these matters as we move on.
I think
Just
Okay, Markakis.
as a last comment, I want to say that now, I don't know if you know it, but I think yesterday the Commission decided to make an anti-laundering competence center in Vilnius concerning cybersecurity and blockchain. I'm saying that because Vilnius is, I mean, Lithuania is part of the consortium. They have some like 600 fintech companies doing a lot of work with cryptocurrencies and all this cybersecurity. So it can be like a springboard also for the consortium to set up some common projects based on fintech and blockchain.
Right, thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Let you know as this Panagiotis, and I would say highlight the existence of these centers and their respective websites, because you can see the policies and the forthcoming steps in education and in research. Depends, and innovation depends on what kind of mission of the university do you serve, in order to check, your next steps and be innovative in whatever you submit. So I would like to thank, Evangelos very much for his presentation. It was very insightful for me. I will share, the video with the rest of the people that unfortunately they will not be connected because of the network issues. But I think that Evangelos showed to us, shed a lot of light regarding this kind of activities. Thank you, Evangelos, and thank you all for your participation. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.